Joining now is Congressman Mike Cloud, a Republican from Texas. Congressman, good to have you with us today. First, I want to get your take on the White House imposing these fines on illegals. Is that a good move?
Yes, anything we need to do. This president has been very much forward-leaning on undoing the atrocity of the Biden administration when it comes to the border. And as you said, this is all about whether we're going to embrace a legal process or an illegal process for coming to this country. The president's made it very clear that we are not going to kowtow anymore to the illegal remnant trying to come into our country, but we're going to make sure that we're honoring those who are coming here the right way and doing this, becoming part of our country and assimilating into our country and becoming part of the fabric of the United States of America. And so it's awesome to have someone in the president who's finally caring about securing and protecting our communities instead of partnering with the cartels. It's so refreshing.
You know, Congressman, the Supreme Court also allowing President Trump to enforce the Alien Enemies Act. This is a big deal, and it seems to me common sense here, sir, that if you've got very dangerous gang members from another country, send them back to where they came from.
Yeah, very much so. It's a win on two fronts. Not only is it a win on the border and everything the president's doing to secure our border, to deport illegal aliens who are here illegally, of course. the term defines itself, but also a win for putting the judiciary where it's supposed to be. The founding fathers gave the executive authority to the president. They gave the legislative authority to Congress, and the judiciary thinking that they can, these unelected or appointed district judges thinking that they have the right to impose their will upon the whole country is not what this country is about. It's not what our founding documents is about, and for them to see the Supreme Court stand up and acknowledge that is an important day.
Congressman, I'm curious. I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt right now with spending bills. There was a headline a few hours ago that the Republicans seem to be embroiled in a bit of a conflict on whether or not you guys are going to approve that Senate version, which only calls for $4 billion in spending cuts. Would you like to share with us where you stand on that?
Well, you know, there's some concern when we sent a bill out of the House and a plan that would find savings to the tune of $1.5 to $2 trillion, and the Senate came back with a $4 billion. That's a lot of zeros that fell off when it came back, and so we're continuing to be in discussions. Ultimately, we're all behind making sure that we accomplish what the president has set out to do, to make sure that we move this country in the right direction, that we limit the size of government, that we make sure to get to extend the tax cuts that were so important, and that we rein in the swamp, that we put the swamp in check. Every year, no matter who's been in charge for decades, the swamp continues to grow, the giant continues to eat, so to speak, and it's time for us to make sure that we're putting that in check and that we're limiting the size of government. We're all working to get to the president's goal, and so that's an ongoing process at the moment.
And part of that goal, of course, is another Supreme Court ruling where they said the president does have the right to fire those government workers, those probationary workers. Your take on that, is that a good call? Do we need to keep firing these folks?
Well, we need to make sure that the executive has the authority. Anyone who's serving in the executive branch who isn't serving at the pleasure of the president, in my view, constitutes a fourth branch of government, an unconstitutional fourth branch of government. So the executive, regardless of whether I agree with them or not, should have the power to execute the laws of the land. And to have people, what we've seen in the first Trump administration was we saw a resistance movement set in to where you actually had the federal government working to undermine the president of the United States. And so if a president is not able to advance his agenda and is not able to decide who's going to stand with him to work to advance that agenda, then we are in a process that's outside of the Constitution. And so it's, again, an important win today when it comes to that decision and making sure that President Trump can do exactly what he campaigned on and execute on his agenda to make this country great again.
All right, Congressman Cloud, thank you for joining us on Newsmax tonight. Appreciate it.